Money is changing hands differently around the world right now. China just connected its digital yuan to payment systems across 16 countries in Asia and the Middle East. This quiet move might be the biggest shift in global trade since World War II. Nearly 40% of world trade could soon bypass American banking systems entirely. Financial power is shifting before our eyes, and most Americans have no idea it's happening. The digital yuan now flows freely through banking systems in countries from Thailand to Saudi Arabia. Unlike previous attempts to challenge the dollar, this system is already operational. Chinese officials made no grand announcements. They simply built the infrastructure, tested it thoroughly, and integrated it with key trading partners. The results are already visible in trade data, so American influence over global commerce is weakening rapidly. Bank screens in Jakarta, Bangkok, and Dubai now show transaction options that didn't exist a year ago. Local currencies connect directly to the yuan without touching dollars or using American banks. The change happened so smoothly that Western financial analysts missed its significance entirely. This isn't just about money, it's about power on the world stage. Trade numbers tell a revealing story. China-ASEAN trade hit $905 billion last year, jumping 120% since 2013. Southeast Asian nations now rank as China's largest trading bloc, surpassing both the United States and Europe. Every container ship that sails between these nations represents dollars that no longer pass through American banks. Local businesses across Asia report dramatic changes. "We save thousands on every transaction," explains Malaysian furniture exporter Lin Wei. "American banks charged fees at both ends of our trades. Now money moves directly between local currencies." Multiply this effect across millions of businesses, and the economic impact becomes staggering. American banking giants face serious trouble. Their fee income from international transfers dropped 20% in these regions last quarter alone. Wall Street executives held emergency meetings last month, but found no easy solutions. The infrastructure they relied on for decades is being bypassed entirely. Washington officials appear unprepared for this shift. Financial regulators still focus on traditional banking threats, while this new system operates outside their oversight. Congressional hearings last week demonstrated limited understanding of these developments. The dollar's global position weakens daily, while American leaders debate unrelated financial regulations. Technology battles intensify the economic tension. China's semiconductor industry underwent complete transformation after American pressure cut off access to critical manufacturing equipment. Dutch restrictions on ASML's advanced lithography machines were supposed to cripple Chinese chip production. Instead, they sparked massive investment. Numbers reveal the scale of China's response: $75 billion in semiconductor funding and 50,000 newly recruited engineers. These resources target one clear goal: building an independent chip supply chain that cannot be controlled by Western nations. Industry experts now admit this approach is working better than expected. Surprising developments emerged from Shenzhen last month. Chinese company Seikar claims it developed indigenous lithography technology capable of producing chips smaller than 7 nanometers without using restricted ASML equipment. Western analysts dismissed these claims initially, but satellite imagery shows massive new facilities operating around the clock. Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation (SMI) expanded its global market share to 20%, 4 times higher than in 2020. The company now tests 5-nanometer chips with plans for 3-nanometer technology. Each advancement reduces China's vulnerability to foreign pressure and strengthens its position in global technology markets. Trade threats create dangerous uncertainty. President Trump announced plans for 50% tariffs on all Chinese imports if elected. Chinese officials prepared multiple response options, including matching tariffs, rare earth export controls, and currency devaluation. Markets fluctuate wildly with each new statement as investors struggle to predict outcomes. Contradictory signals confuse businesses worldwide. American officials demand manufacturing return home while simultaneously threatening trade relations with countries that supply essential raw materials. Chinese leaders speak of cooperation while building systems designed to operate independently from the United States. Neither side's actions match their public statements. European leaders find themselves caught between competing pressures. Trump threatened 200% tariffs on European wines and spirits unless the EU removes its 50% tariff on American whiskey. European officials must now balance Atlantic relationships against growing Asian market opportunities. Their diplomatic statements grow increasingly vague as they await clear policy directions. Financial analysts cannot agree on likely outcomes. J.P. Morgan predicts economic disruption, while Goldman Sachs suggests minimal impact. World Bank models show global trade declining 1% under proposed tariffs, but the IMF estimates only set reduction. These contradictions leave businesses unable to plan effectively, freezing investment decisions worldwide. Regular shoppers express growing confusion. "I'm trying to buy a birthday present for my daughter," says Ohio father James Wilson. "The news says Chinese products might cost double next month. So should I buy now? Or will it all blow over like usual? I just want a reasonably priced tablet that works." Millions share his uncertainty. Social media overflows with tariff memes. Popular posts show people hoarding everything from shoes to electronics. One viral TikTok features a woman filling her closet with Chinese-made products while her confused husband asks where they'll sleep with all the extra stuff. The humor masks genuine anxiety about future price. Kitchen table economics dominate family discussions. "My husband and I actually argued about whether to buy a new washing machine now or wait," admits Seattle homemaker Sarah Johnson. "It's ridiculous though. We're debating international trade policy while folding laundry." Ordinary purchase decisions now involve geopolitical considerations most people never imagine. Local stores report strange shopping patterns. Customers ask about product origins more than features or prices, notes Denver electronics retailer Michael Chang. One guy bought 3 vacuum cleaners because they're made in China and might get expensive. People are stocking up like it's toilet paper during a pandemic. Rational consumer behavior disappears when policies seem unpredictable. Trade policy reveals fundamental misconceptions. Trump's approach treats global commerce as a simple scoreboard, where tariffs force manufacturing home and create American jobs. Economic reality proves far more complex. Supply chains developed over decades cannot relocate quickly without massive disruption and cost increase. Historical evidence contradicts simplistic claims. Previous tariff increases in 2018 and 2020 cost American consumers billions while achieving minimal manufacturing returns. Studies from multiple universities demonstrated these policies reduced American GDP growth while increasing prices on everyday goods. These documented outcomes receive little attention in current policy debates. Administration figures demonstrate concerning knowledge gaps. Recent interviews show officials unable to explain basic economic concepts like comparative advantage or price elasticity. Policy statements suggest unfamiliarity with how modern supply chains actually function. decisions affecting millions of jobs emerge from fundamental misunderstandings of global trade mechanics. Political messaging overtakes economic reality. Make American manufacturing great again sounds compelling but ignores automation's role in job losses. Factory employment declined primarily because technology reduced worker requirements, not because production moved overseas. Tariffs cannot reverse technological progress regardless of political promise. Further complication. Explore the international fallout and trade implications. Canadian leadership responds forcefully to American pressure. Mark Carney, described as a leading prime ministerial candidate, stated firmly he will reject all attempts to weaken Canada through aggressive trade tactics. Our northern neighbor prepares targeted countermeasures focusing specifically on politically sensitive American exports. Evidence suggests precision targeting of American companies. Canadian officials reportedly plan Tesla-specific tariffs while removing the company from subsidy programs. They also consider restricting exports of minerals essential for electric vehicle batteries or resources American manufacturers cannot easily source elsewhere. These measures aim for maximum political impact rather than broad economic harm. BRICS expansion accelerates amid global tensions. This group of major non-Western economies recently welcomed new members like Nigeria and Indonesia. Reports into how 3 countries now seek membership, representing 55% of world population and one of global GDP. Each new member strengthens alternatives to Western-dominated financial systems. De-dollarization efforts gain momentum within these nations. BRICS countries actively increase trade in local currencies while expanding their new development bank as an alternative to Western-controlled institutions like the IMF and World Bank. Banking officials report dramatic increases in non-dollar settlements between member nations in recent months. Proposed tariff structures contain fundamental mathematical flaws. The universal 20% tariff approach fails to account for product-specific price elasticity, how consumer demand changes with price increases. Basic economic models predict these blunt instruments will create inflation while failing to achieve stated policy goals. Implementation details raise serious concerns. Customs officials lack clear guidance on products with components from multiple countries. Manufacturing processes spanning several nations create classification nightmares that border agents cannot realistically resolve. Paperwork requirements alone could delay shipments for weeks. Cost-benefit analysis reveals troubling projections. If trading partners retaliate against American tariffs as is expected, economic models predict 5.5 million American jobs lost and unemployment rising to put. These numbers come from mainstream economic institutions, not partisan sources. The potential damage exceeds any reasonable estimate of benefits. Small business owners describe impossible compliance burdens. I import components from 12 different countries, explains Minnesota manufacturer Robert Peterson. Under these rules, I need to document the origin of every screw and circuit board, then calculate different tariff rates for each piece. My accounting staff would triple just to handle the paperwork. Countless businesses face similar challenges. Shipping patterns already show concerning changes. Satellite tracking data reveals vessels being rerouted from American ports toward Asian destinations. Cargo volumes to West Coast terminals dropped 70% last quarter as importers seek alternative arrangements. Port workers from Seattle to Los Angeles report reduced shifts and income uncertainty. Manufacturing regions face particular vulnerability. Michigan automotive plants depend on integrated supply chains spanning North America and Asia. Proposed tariffs would increase vehicle production costs by thousands of dollars per unit. Factory managers report contingency planning for potential shutdowns if parts become unavailable or unaffordable. Rural areas may suffer disproportionate harm. Agricultural exports typically face first-round retaliation in trade disputes. Iowa farmers remember Chinese soybean tariffs from previous trade conflicts that devastated crop values. Farm equipment costs would rise under new tariffs while export markets simultaneously shrink. A devastating combination for already struggling agricultural communities. Technology innovation faces unexpected threats. Research partnerships between American and foreign institutes become politically complicated. Semiconductor development requires global collaboration that tariffs make difficult. Silicon Valley executives warn privately that innovation cycles may slow significantly under proposed restrictions, allowing other regions to gain competitive advantages. Implementation chaos appears inevitable. Government agencies responsible for trade enforcement lack both personnel and clear guidelines for proposed tariffs. Customs and Border Protection officials requested emergency funding for additional staff, but received no response. Ports prepare for massive processing delays with no solution in sight. Legal challenges will create extended uncertainty. Constitutional questions about executive tariff authority remain unresolved from previous trade actions. Multiple industry associations prepared lawsuits challenging both the process and substance of proposed measures. Court battles could extend for years while businesses operate under constantly changing rules. Consumer confusion reaches unprecedented levels. Retailers cannot provide accurate pricing information for future inventory. Financial advisors struggle to offer solid investment guidance amid policy uncertainty. Retirement accounts fluctuate wildly with each new trade announcement, causing anxiety, particularly among older Americans nearing retirement. Media coverage amplifies rather than clarifies issues. Television segments feature shouting matches between political partisans rather than economic experts. Social media algorithms promote the most extreme predictions, regardless of factual basis. Citizens seeking reliable information find themselves overwhelmed by contradictory claims from seemingly authoritative sources. America stands at an economic crossroads, unlike any in recent history. Global trade patterns that developed over decades face sudden disruption. Alternative financial systems gain strength while traditional American advantages erode. The decisions made in coming months will shape economic reality for a generation. Questions remain that no expert can confidently answer. Will China's digital currency system successfully challenge dollar dominance? Can American manufacturing adapt to rapidly changing trade rules? What happens when the world's largest economies engage in open economic conflict? The only certainty is continued uncertainty. Your financial future depends on understanding these developments. Standard investment advice no longer applies when fundamental economic relationships shift so dramatically. Protecting your savings requires information mainstream sources often overlook. The economic landscape is changing faster than most realize. The world won't wait while America debates its approach. China builds alternative systems daily. Europe develops independent trade relationships. Developing nations seek stability outside traditional Western frameworks. The next video will explore specific strategies for navigating this uncertain environment, because understanding these changes isn't optional, it's essential.